Now, real people, real opinions. Nighttime talk with Niall Boylan.
Ireland's classic hits radio.
School children around the country were challenged to speak Irish all day today as part of a campaign to spark conversation of Sgilga. Galga 24, or hashtag Galga 24, took place in Ireland and worldwide. I didn't even know about this, by the way.
Níl ein tintán mar de hintán féin.
What does that even mean, by the way?
That
That means can I go to the Jacks? Well, what does the other one mean? Tintan, tintan, tintan. Somebody will text anyway. So the idea was that over 25,000 students spoke Irish across the island today. What I want to know tonight is there any point, really? I mean, does that protect the Irish language in any way? Do you think it's becoming more popular? I never hear people speaking Irish. On this show, for example, the only person who ever comes on and says, you know, G Gwitz or Cunnas Atatu or whatever is Micheál. He's an 80-year-old man, or nearly 80, and he comes on the air. He's a wonderful man. He's the only one that comes on the air speaking Irish. And I can tell you now, if somebody come on the air and insisted on speaking Irish, call me and don't say that I'm not a patriot, right? But if they start speaking Irish, I'm going to have to cut them off. Because we lose listeners, because nobody understands what they're talking about. The majority of people listening to the show will have no clue what they're talking about. They might pick up the odd word every now and again. I wouldn't have a clue, so I couldn't conduct a conversation with them. There was a time in broadcasting where I had to speak Irish, or you had to speak Irish to be in broadcasting. Thankfully, that wasn't for me. In the latest census of 2022, 1,873,997 people of the 39.8% of the population of the Republic of Ireland claimed some ability to speak Irish. This was an increase of 6% compared to 2016. Was that 6% taking classes since 2016? I don't think so. I think maybe it's a mistake. Is there a need for it? 12,000 people in Ireland. The 70,000 people in Ireland speak Irish fluently, as far as I know. And they're mostly educators. So they would be people who teach Irish or people who work in schools, school teachers. There are 12,000 people in Ireland who only speak Irish. They would be in Gaeltacht areas. 12,000 is not a lot of people out of a population of 5 million who only speak the native language and they don't speak English. Now, they say they don't speak English, and they probably get cheesed off, which if you try to speak English to them, they listen to Radio na Gaeltacht and TG Cahar, which are good services for them. But we spend something like 1.2 billion per year, roughly, when you add everything up between RTE, spending money on Radio na Gaeltacht and TG Cahar, between, when we're talking about translations for courts, for EU documents, for all road signs, for all sorts of translations and documents and everything else, we spend roughly that amount of money. Is it worth it? Some people would say no, and other people say, no, come on, it's part of our heritage. We can't let it go. But does it really matter? You're going to hate me for saying that, aren't you?
You're listening to Nighttime Talk with Niall Boylan.
With Recruit.ie. Download our job search app today. Search for Recruit.ie in your smartphone app store.
Ireland's classic hits radio.
Can I just get something out there? I just want to say something, right? Last night, you might remember we spoke to Ray Tobin about his wife, Mary, and that wonderful love story that started in Tamango. And it was a wonderful story about true love, being married, and sadly, not once but twice, she was diagnosed with cancer. We have put a link for the GoFundMe up on the Classic Hits, as we said we would last night. We didn't want to do it, it was a bit late last night, but we did do it. Jane did it today on the Classic Hits, and I just put it up on my own Twitter there now. So I'd please ask you to go to my Twitter account, or indeed the Classic Hits Twitter account. Go to my personal one or the Classic Hits one, and you'll see the link there for GoFundMe. Please see if you can give something to donate, because they need to get, obviously, 50,000 to get it over to Germany, to get the rest of that treatment that she needs to help Mary to live. And that's the campaign, the GoFundMe campaign. But what I did notice was something horrible. And I just wanted to mention it. And I don't think any of our listeners are doing it. But underneath both the Classic Hits and my own, within minutes, there was trolls putting up posts, saying, oh, if you want to help, we can help here, click here. And, because they obviously what it is, it's an analytic that looks for the word GoFundMe or fundraiser. And they put their own post underneath it, looking like they're pretending to help. And you click a link and you go and they're charging you all sorts of money. And I just think, isn't that so sad that trolls would pick on vulnerable people, who are fundraising? It really is so sad. So if you see any of those kind of trolling type of posts underneath it, please just ignore it. The only thing I want you to do is go onto it, You don't even have to like it. You don't have to retweet it. You don't have to add it. Please do if you can. But all I'm asking is just to go on to it, just click the link and donate a few quid, a fiver, whatever you can, and to help Ray and Mary and their family, because they're a wonderful family and they deserve your support. But I just wanted to mention that. So just please ignore the trolls underneath the tweets and underneath the posts that we put in, because sadly there's always going to be people out there that will take advantage of situations like that. And I think it's really, really sad. Anyway, getting back to the Irish language, let me go to Lorraine O'Neill. Lorraine, hi, how are you?
I'm good, Niall. How are you?
Good, Lorraine. I don't know why I gave you your second name there. Your title came up on my screen, but however, I do apologise.
You're okay.
Lorraine, should we really care about the Irish language? Because some people would say, should we really be spending money on it? Should we care about it that much? It's a dying language. Should just let it go.
Yeah, I think we should. It's part of our history. It's part of who we are. My daughter is 7 and she absolutely loves it in school. Mm-hmm. And my biggest regret is I can't say it back to her. I can't. If she's doing her Irish homework, yes, I can answer some of the questions, but I can't get into a conversation with her with it, and how she actually loves it. Like, it's part of who we are.
And why don't you learn it then? Because if I really cared about it, I'd learn it.
It is my biggest regret that I haven't gone on and learned it, and when I left school, I didn't do anything about it. It is one of my biggest regrets. And since I've seen my daughter and how great she's getting on, like even her teacher has her doing Duolingo. It's an app in school.
Yeah.
To learn Irish.
Okay, so you can get Duolingo in Irish Hoskelga now as well. Okay, good. I didn't know that.
And because she's doing that in school, it's been helping us all at home.
Okay.
Kind of helping her with her Irish. But I think it's part of who we are. It's part of our history. Why give it up?
But I've never been in a situation in my life where I needed to speak Irish because I couldn't communicate with somebody. Never.
I do like the fact you can speak a bit of Irish. You like the fact that you can say a couple of sentences in Irish. It's part of who we are. It's like giving up part of your identity if you can't speak some Irish. To me, that's how I feel.
No, and you know what? You are right. It's lovely. And you know, because I've worked with some of the girls who work in the news in Ireland's Classic Hits Radio over the years, and some of them are fluent Irish speakers. And the girl who does the Irish show on a Sunday, and the Crackog is Kill bit that you hear in the middle when she's in recording those bits, and they're chatting away in Irish, and I do listen to them, and I do be a little bit jealous. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm the same.
Yeah.
The fact that my daughter can speak more Irish than I can, and she's 7, as I said, it's one of my biggest regrets that I didn't go on and continue doing it. Because she absolutely loves it. Like, she comes home most days with it's called a happy gram from school, and it says great work in Irish. She loves it. My daughter, I don't know where she got it from, because it wasn't from me and it wasn't from Jay. I don't know where she got it from.
It certainly wasn't from Jay. That's for sure.
But
bad language is all she'd get from Jay.
That's exactly it. But she absolutely loves it, and she'll take out her Irish book and she'll do her Irish homework, and she'll sit and she'll come home and say she learned this new word in Irish, and she's gone around saying what Halloween was and trick-or-treating was, and she comes home and she's so happy when she learns new words and learns new sentences. I love to see the happy in her, like the fact that she can turn around and say that's.
But we see the problem we had with Irish in school in this country was it was beaten into us. And we all left school after whatever it is, 16 years you spend in school in this country, not knowing any Irish. But yet we spent 3 years doing French, and we knew more French than we did Irish because of the way it was taught to us. So it was just really badly taught.
It was really wrongly taught. Like, we were told, you're Irish, you must know these words. You know, that sort of way, as you said, bet into us. Yeah. You must know them, you're Irish.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's not. Now it's taught. As I said, my daughter at the age of 7 can have a whole conversation with you, and I'd be looking at her going, all right, Sorka, I love you, but I can't answer you back. You know, that's sort of,
yeah.
She enjoys it. It's taught. She enjoys it. It's not forced into her. It's not, you have to learn these words. It's enjoyable for the kids now.
Hold on, Jane, see, can you get Mihal on there, will you? Try and get Mihal. Okay, she's going to try. Morgan, stay there, Lorraine. Morgan, hi, how are you?
I'm good, Niall. How are you?
Good. Morgan, you believe it's vital. That's quite an important word. You believe it's vital?
It is vital, and I'll start by saying Diagwit.
Diagwit, because Connors a thought too.
Yes, Morgan.
Tommy Gamach. And that's probably about the height of my ability to speak Irish, like most people. in Ireland. And your caller there touched on it as to why we don't speak it, and I think it's or why we don't learn it, and I think a lot of it's linked to shame, because we don't. I've been abroad a couple of times, and people have asked me, why don't Irish people
Speak Irish. Yeah.
And I come up with the excuse, oh, well, it's because of our history and our relationship with historical Britain, and the languages is essentially outlawed and people were murdered and what have you for it. But then you for very valid point, well, why don't we learn it? Why don't I, like I'll say for myself, why don't I now go and try to learn to speak it? And I have done it several times, but it's really down to lack of time and I will say commitment. But beyond that, it is vital. It is a link to our past. It is a link to our culture, much of which is gone. In particular interest for me is Brehon laws and all kind of past Gaelic culture. That language is a window into that past that we can still find useful for today. And also, I think, given the times we live in, where we're a particularly fractured society, and given everything that's going on, including all the new people that live here, that can be a unifying force for people, the Irish language. And it will take...
I 100% agree.
Yeah,
I watched a great short movie, by the way. It was on before a movie in the cinema, going back about 5 years ago. And it was only about 15 minutes long. And it was this little Chinese lad in China. And he was looking at a brochure for Ireland and thought, this looks like a wonderful place. I'd love to go there and live. And then he saw Irish people speak, the national language is Irish. So he said, right, better go and learn Irish. So off he went and got private lessons for 2 years to learn Irish. He became proficient at it. So he arrived.
When he met Brendan Gleeson in the pub.
And I think that's the one. He arrives in Dublin Airport and he goes to a pub in Ireland and he starts speaking in Irish and the barman is looking at him.
Brendan Gleeson.
Barman looking at him hasn't a clue what he's talking about. He's speaking fluent Irish. And I thought...
That's when he meets Brendan Gleeson in the pub.
Yeah. And I thought, that's really sad. You know what I mean?
It is sad.
It's a shame, and I think we should ask that question. Well, why? Yeah, it is a shame, and people need to answer. Why do you feel ashamed? And I feel ashamed because it's something we've lost. It reminds us that as a people we were conquered. We lost,
we lost our identity.
probably 99% of our culture, our identity, and now people are probably at the precipice now for Irish identity, where it's seen as a stain on people to want to be Irish.
But we still have to conduct life in English because, let's be clear, it's the most acceptable language in the world, right? Mandarin Chinese is the most spoken language in the world. English is nowhere near the top. I think English is third. I think Spanish is even second. But English is the most acceptable language in the world. So we still have...
We don't have to give it up.
No.
I wouldn't argue that we have to give up English. And more Chinese speak English than English people speak English as well. That's just purely by demographics. I have a sprinkling of children. Some of them have gone to Gael schools, so they speak Irish fluently, and that's the only real chance where we will have people who do actually speak fluent Irish, can and will, and that's for children. So it will be a mighty struggle for all us adults now to magically find the time and make the commitment to each other that we are going to start to speak Irish and speak
maybe it's the forcing. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong in thinking this because when your parents force fed you food, you hated it, right? And you still hate it when you become an adult, right? But I remember my mother used to force sprouts into me, and as an adult, I hate sprouts, right? So what I'm saying, maybe it's the forcing, like this idea that you must learn Irish rather than the choice. If you had the choice, would more people actually do it because they want to do it? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do, but let's be honest. Children don't have a choice in school about what they learn.
No, I'm talking about secondary. In primary school, absolutely, but I'm talking about secondary school. Sorry, hang on. Sorry, hang on one time. Sorry, Lorraine, what are you trying to say?
Sorry, you said when you came out of school, you knew more French than you did Irish.
Yeah,
because it wasn't forced upon you.
No, it was choice. Yeah,
it was choice. You chose French. You didn't choose Irish, which is horrible to say that you learned a foreign language quicker than you learned your own. Because it was forced upon you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, have you ever given a teenager choice? Did they make good ones?
No.
Yeah, but the idea that you must do it in your leaving cert and junior cert and you have no choice in the matter, or the idea, say, Morgan, that you want to go into do computer science, in a college, whatever college it is in town or whatever it is, and you're not allowed to do a computer course unless you've Irish, is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
I don't think
will agree
Irish
with you on
has
that.
to be the be-all or end-all if you're going into a course. I don't think Irish should be the deciding factor if you decide to do a course.
No.
I think it should be if you want to learn Irish, learn it. As I said, my daughter is 7 and she absolutely loves it, and I can see her going on to continue doing it. But it shouldn't be the be-on and end-on if you get a course or you get onto your degree or get onto something. Irish shouldn't be the be-on or end-on because not everyone, has Niall said, enjoyed it, wanted to do it.
Stay there a second. Let me go to Steve as well. Stay there, Morgan and Lorraine. Steve, hi, how are you?
Ismat lum caca millish. Nemat lum sprouts. Sprouts taste like arse. They're horrible, I agree with you.
They are horrible. Ismat lum. Cockamillish is sweets, is it? No.
Cake.
Oh, cake. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, go on. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm coming on here to upset, to kind of rock the boat a little bit because
that's what you
I
do.
think the Irish language is a complete waste of time. There is more people in this country speak Polish than they do Irish. So would it be not more beneficial for others to speak Polish? Now, I'm not saying teach Polish, but it would be more beneficial because obviously there's more people speak it.
There's more people speak Chinese in Ireland than speak Irish, which is sad.
I don't know. Oh, yeah, actually, I would have never
the Chinese community is huge in Ireland. Huge. So there's more people speak Chinese.
Yeah.
Beneficial
but they
in what
should.
way? I'd like to ask.
But do you not
Beneficial,
feel like we lose our identity?
No, look, at the end of the day, our identity is going to fade away. It's fading away rapidly as it is, and we're not going to be able to hold on to that identity for much longer. In 1,000 years, hold on a second, in 1,000 years, we might be speaking a completely different language. Maybe our overlords in China, we might be speaking Chinese. Yeah, why should...
Well, hang on, sorry, Morgan, what are you trying to say there?
I'm saying that's a terrible argument. Let's do nothing because something in the future may happen. Why not just get rid of English now? Why not speak Chinese?
Okay, I tell you what. Buddy, you go and ask anybody under the age.
Let me finish.
Well, I can call you much worse names if you'd like.
No, I'd rather you didn't call each other names. Hang on, Steve. Let him just finish what he's explaining to you. Go ahead, Morgan.
It's a poor argument to say, okay, well, let's do nothing because of some imagined future you have that, well, everything will change. Well, that's a constant, but it's a poor argument. Just because I asked you again, you said it's more beneficial for people to learn Polish. What do you mean by beneficial? In what sense is it beneficial?
I was being sarcastic.
Okay.
Obviously, that's what I was doing there.
Well, then don't joke. So be serious for a minute because I think this is very important.
Oh, I am being. I'm going to be very serious about the Irish language. No,
okay.
I tell you what. Let me finish the goddamn sentence
but you can't
without you
let
putting
you
into
finish
me
if you keep
because I was
interrupting.
only
You keep
brought
interrupting
on
me.
2 minutes ago. I'm not directing anything at
Yeah,
you.
and
I
I'll
haven't
ask you to
spoken
let
to you
me speak,
as yet.
and you interrupted, and you continue to interrupt.
And you have been talking since you came on. I haven't had the opportunity to explain myself. So it'd be beneficial to us all if you could just be quiet for a minute.
Okay, well, if we can all be civilised, that would be wonderful. Steve, I will let you finish the point you wanted to make, because to be fair, you did only come on, and I will let Morgan respond to you. Go for it, Steve.
Okay. Thank you very much. It would be more beneficial for us to be teaching children computer science, or things that is actually going to benefit them in the future.
We can do that too, can't we? We can do that too.
There is no benefit other than, historical reasons. Excuse me, what?
I was saying you can do that. You were talking about there's more benefits to computer science. We can teach computer science as well.
And we can remove the thing that actually does nothing for nobody, only retain a bit of heritage. And what that guy said there earlier, it pissed me off, that I have this imagined future. You cannot stop the march of progress. And we have seen over the last 10, 20 years, this country lose its culture to the point of where we're at now, basically. And that has happened. You think that's
Okay, well, hang on. No, to be fair, I did say I'd let Morgan reply. Morgan, you can reply to him there.
Okay.
What is it?
So you've just basically destroyed your own argument. You bemoan the fact that Irish culture is almost gone. And so the remedy to that is just say, okay, well, fuck it. It's
that is my remedy. Yeah.
How is
Yeah,
that?
but
My
that's absolutely.
daughter
How about,
enjoys it.
hang on, let me continue, please. Let me continue. How about, let's take the religion of Islam, just to move it sideways for a moment, but just as an example. So that's on the rise. That's the fastest growing religion in the world.
No, it's not.
Christianity in Ireland is almost gone. So why not just have that, bring that in as well? So let
I'm
Islam
not saying.
be the
I
future
never
of
said
Ireland.
that these were good ideas. I never said they were good ideas. What I said is you can't
Well, why
stop
are you
the
arguing
march
for
of
a poor
progress.
idea?
I'm not arguing for a poor idea. To get rid of something that is not used
Well, if it's not a
is
good
not
idea,
a poor
what is it?
idea.
If it's not a good idea, by extension, it's a bad
It's
idea.
not a. Dude, would you let me finish? We are getting rid of, if we could, it would be excellent to get rid of something we don't use. It's not beneficial to use the Irish language to communicate with the rest of the world. There's 12,000 people in this country who speak the Irish language.
No. To clarify, there's 12,000 who only speak Irish. There's over 80,000 people who speak Irish fluently. And most of them are educators.
Fair
Well,
enough.
the point I'm trying to get across to you, just for a moment, the point I'm trying to get across to you is that for me, the Irish language is a window
for you
into the culture, a window into the culture we have lost. In particular,
for
my
you.
interest is around. For me. Well, but I'm talking about me, and as you are talking about you. Well, of course, you have the window into the march of progress, and
stop being such an idiot when keeping repeating that sentence.
If you bring me down to your level, I have no other chance to respond in that fashion.
What, to be an idiot? As if I came on here to be an idiot. I'm coming on to argue the point that the Irish language is dead, and we're spending absolute millions on it.
But
Did you know that each court transcript has to be transcribed into Irish as well? People have to be paid to do this.
Okay, it's 1.2 billion a year altogether. Sorry, Lorraine, you want to say something to Steve? Go ahead.
Why does that offend you so much?
The spending on something that's dead?
Shame.
And why, seriously, why does it bother you so much? My daughter has
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why it bothers me so much. Do you remember the famous incident where they bought a printer in the Dáil and there was a big scandal? Do we all remember that?
Yeah, it wouldn't fit in the room and all that kind of carry.
You can all agree that was a fantastic waste of money, yeah?
Failure, yeah.
Yeah, because it was completely unnecessary. So in this situation, the Irish language is unnecessary. Go and ask anybody.
Hang on, Steve. You can't compare the printer in the Dáil or the chime in the slime or the floozy in the jacuzzi or any of those other silly things, or voting machines or any of those other silly things we wasted money on with the Irish language.
What's not a waste of money if everything else is a waste of money?
Of course it's a waste of money. Nobody's speaking
What's not a waste of money? Listen to the question. What is not a waste of money?
Well, Morgan, there's a lot of things that are not a waste of money. Well, I can't listen to two people talking together, honestly. If you could just both wait for each other to stop. Morgan, there's a lot of things that are... The question you asked is what's not a waste of money. There are a lot of things that are not a waste of money.
This is not... Sorry, I'll answer. This is not for me
healthcare.
Money. This is
social
not
services.
Money. There is more to life
It costs
than
money.
Yes,
it costs money to do your stupid
hang on. Let's be fair. You're making a straw man argument there, Morgan. Money is a fact of life. We do need money. The government makes money. We spend money. We divvy it out to the most important things. That's what we're meant to do. They have a duty to taxpayers to do that. So there are things that are worth the money we pay, and we get benefits from those things. Steve just mentioned there a few minutes ago, healthcare, education, all those things. They're all good things. Good benefits. We get great benefits.
But also arguments could be made. They're a waste of money.
Well, what's a waste of money when it comes to healthcare?
A waste of money when it comes to that.
A waste of money. Well, having top heavy with management rather than investing in.
Well, that's just bad management. That's bad. That's always going to be the case. But there's no such thing as a waste of money when we put it into healthcare, generally speaking, or education, or housing, or whatever it is. Unless there's sometimes wastage because of bad management. But generally speaking, the money is spent.
Niall.
Yeah.
Niall, let me ask you a question. Is Irish still mandatory in primary schools?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, do we know how often
and secondary schools?
Okay, is it taught once a day, once a week? Do we know the hours that are put into this?
40 minutes a day.
It's taught every day because my daughter is 7. She's in primary school. She's taught it every day, and she enjoys it. She loves it.
Okay,
she loves
fantastic.
Irish.
I'm very happy for her. But 40 minutes a day could be spent on something better that is going to be used to benefit the children. The
But that's
Irish
in your
language
opinion.
will not. No,
Some
hold
of
on
my
a second.
children
You all give out about
were
interrupting. You don't let me
through
finish
the
a goddamn
medium of
sentence.
immersive Irish.
Yeah, just keep
and
talking
they
over
came
me.
through
You just
that.
do
They
that.
learned,
Go ahead.
They learned. Well,
I
you
can do
can't
the
make,
exact same thing.
silly
I can be rude
arguments.
as well.
I'm
My
letting you talk.
daughters
I'm letting you talk.
learned
Not you,
Irish
not you, love.
immersively. My daughters learned Irish immersively in Gael school. And
Mhm.
through the medium of the Irish language, they had their whole entire education, primary, secondary, and we're going
Okay.
to third level through Irish.
Well,
They
get
were
with
learning
you.
everything in
Yeah, but
Irish.
Morgan, Gael schools have become more popular, but the reason they're becoming more popular is not just because people want their children to speak Irish. You know that as well as I do. Let's not get into it too deeply, but you know why
Yeah,
Gael schools
yeah,
are
we
Yeah,
becoming
know
well,
popular.
already.
I'm only talking in regards to learning a language. You cannot learn a language 40 minutes a day.
Jesus
It
Christ.
cannot be done.
Yes, you
It cannot
can.
be done. It can't not to be able to speak a language
Of course it
fluently.
can.
You cannot do it
Yes,
40
you can.
minutes
My
a day.
daughter speaks it.
Your but daughter can't speak fluent Irish.
No, she can't because she's only 7. So she
Exactly.
hasn't
So
learned
you
the whole
cannot
language.
learn. I spent my fucking entire education system in Ireland through English with 40 minutes a day, like everybody on this call with me. None of
Maybe
us
you were
can
just
speak fluent
lazy then.
Irish. None of us come out
Maybe
of
you were just
secondary school
lazy.
speaking fluent Irish. Did
So why
you
didn't
speak,
you?
fluent,
Why
did
didn't you?
speak? Because you can't.
Why
it's
didn't you?
impossible, is what I'm telling you.
My-
you
my
cannot,
arse,
you
of
cannot
course you
learn to
can.
speak a
was
language
told to go onto
fluently
Duolingo
40
app
minutes
and
a
told
day.
to learn Irish through Duolingo. My daughter was told to go onto the Duolingo app that we have downloaded at home, and she does it at home. You cannot use that as an argument. I was agreeing with you. The Irish language should stay. But you can't
Should
turn
say,
around
but
and
I'm
say you
telling
can't
you,
learn it
what
in
you're not
40
listening
minutes.
to is
I
the
am
fact that you
listening to you.
cannot learn you cannot learn to speak language fluently in 40
Yes, you
minutes
can.
a day.
Yes, you can.
You
My
can't.
daughter
You
has the
can't.
Duolingo
Well,
app
how
at
come?
home.
Well, explain to me how our current education system
Maybe you couldn't.
continuously towards. Wait, could you?
Because we were lazy.
No,
we didn't
no,
want to
no.
learn.
Do you know what?
No,
Hold
no,
on
no,
a second. Noel,
no.
let me,
Question.
Noel, let me
Yes
in there,
or no?
please,
Could
God.
you speak language fluently? Irish language
No, because
fluently
they
when you
couldn't.
came out of primary or
Exactly.
secondary school?
But hang on, with the greatest respect, there are people in this country who do speak fluent Irish, Morgan. And like everybody else, they went through the same education system that I went through. And they came out of school speaking Irish fluently because they probably had an interest in it. And they only got the 40 minutes a day. But they just obviously went home and did a bit of studying too.
Now, real people, real opinions. Nighttime Talk with Niall Boylan.
Ireland's classic hits radio.